Hello and welcome. I'm Ijoma Onyato. Tonight, Boko Haram ambushes General Officer commanding 7th Division of the Nigerian Army. 1 soldier killed, 2 others wounded. National Judicial Commission recommends suspension of 3 judges over alleged falsification of age and delayed justice delivery. More trouble in Oredo Local Government Council in Edo State as attempt by the reinstated chairman to resume office turns violent. An explosion in Kabul, Afghanistan claims over 20 lives, about 330 injured.
And on business news tonight, First Bank targets best investment options for small-scale businesses in a challenging business climate.
And on sports news tonight, Channel's National Kids Cup get underway with the Lagos preliminaries producing 40 goals on day 1 from 8 matches in 2 centres.
It's been a challenging day for officers and men of the 7th Division of the Nigerian Army as the General Officer commanding that division, Brigadier General Victor Izugu, was ambushed today by suspected Boko Haram militants. The spokesman of the Nigerian Army, Colonel Sani Usman, says the general was on his way to Bama in Borno State, where his convoy was attacked. Although 1 soldier was killed and 2 others injured, the troops repelled the attack, killing some terrorists and recovering weapons from them. Our correspondent Blessing Tuna reports that the GOC continued his operational visit to Bama, while the body of the slain soldier and the injured have been taken to Maiduguri, the Borno state capital. Meanwhile, Nigerian troops have restored normalcy to Kareto town in northern Borno state, northeast Nigeria, after repelling prolonged attacks on the town by members of the Boko Haram sect. Army spokesperson Colonel Sani Usman had on Monday announced that the Nigerian troops were engaged in a heavy gunfight with members of the terror group. The army notes that the troops successfully repelled the attack and killed quite a number of the terrorists after nearly 10 hours of battle. Kareto lies 120 kilometers north of Maiduguri.
The situation is cool and calm because no sooner than the Boko Haram terrorists attacked, we called for reinforcement from troops from 7th Division as well as the Nigerian Air Force, and they rose to the occasion. The insurgents were routed out, quite a number of them were killed, and unfortunately 2 officers and 22 soldiers sustained various degrees of injuries, and they have been evacuated to military hospitals in Maiduguri.
Now, the National Judicial Council, under the chairmanship of the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Mahmood Mohammed, has recommended the compulsory retirement from office of Justice Olayinka Gbajabiamila of the Lagos State High Court with immediate effect. The acting director of information of the council, Mr. Sojioye, says Justice Gbajabiamila was recommended for compulsory retirement pursuant to findings by the council on allegations contained in the petitions written by Mr. Condit Johnson, accusing him of delivering judgment 22 months after written addresses were adopted. The council also recommended the compulsory retirement of Justice Idris Evuti of the Niger State High Court for allegedly falsifying his date of birth. He is also to refund salaries received since September the 25th, 2015, when he was expected to have retired. In addition, the council recommends that Justice Tanko Usman of the Niger State Judiciary, who also falsified his age before retiring on March the 26th, be made to refund salaries he collected from June the 25th, 2015, when he ought to have retired. Now, the chief prosecution witness in the ongoing trial of the Senate President, Dr. Bukola Saraki, at the Code of Conduct Tribunal, has admitted he did not investigate some of the exhibits he tendered before the tribunal. He told the court that even though his investigations stemmed from an intelligence report obtained by the EFCC, he does not have a copy of the report, neither is the report before the tribunal. Our correspondent Amaka Okafor reports.
It's the continuation of the Senate President's trial. The proceedings, which was billed for noon, started a little over an hour later. Lawyer to the defense, Mr. Kanu Agabi, continued the cross-examination of the chief prosecution witness, Michael Wekpas, who is an operative of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. He was first questioned on Exhibit 11, 12, and 13, which were petitions written by a group known as Kwara Freedom Network, inviting the EFCC to investigate the Kwara State Universal Basic Education Board and borrowings for the projects. The witness, who had earlier told the tribunal that the petition formed the basis of his team's investigation, however, said he did not investigate the petition, rather another team carried out the investigation. When asked why he tendered documents he did not investigate, the witness said he carried out the directive of the prosecution. Also under cross-examination, the witness admitted that investigating the asset declaration of the Senate President did not form part of his schedule of duty. He explained that 3 exhibits, which were asset declaration form of the defendant, were duly examined and stamped by the Code of Conduct Bureau when the documents were shown to him. He said there was nowhere in the petition they investigated where Saraki's asset declaration was in contention. He, however, said that the investigation of the defendant was based on intelligence report obtained by the former chairman of the EFCC, Ibrahim Lamarte, and not the 3 petitions tendered as exhibits, and that such intelligence were either provided orally or reduced in writing by people who asked to remain anonymous. The witness stated that the 6 asset declaration forms submitted by the Senate President to the Code of Conduct Bureau were not investigated by his team. He, however, said his team was directed to investigate the intelligence report alone. He said the intelligence report is not before the tribunal as exhibit. Attempt by the defense to seek for a longer adjournment to enable it study the documents tendered as exhibits was rejected by the tribunal.
The tribunal said we'll be coming from day to day, we'll do our best. So far, we have done very well, and we really thank God again.
The court had ordered yesterday that the trial will be day to day until we conclude this trial. So now make an application that will be in direct conflict with it, and also when they have all the documentation they are requesting for. So why asking for an adjournment?
The defense is expected to continue the cross-examination of the witness. Amaka Okafo, Channels Television News.
Let's stay with legal matters now. A federal high court in Port Harcourt today arraigned 2 prominent politicians in Rivers State for allegedly disturbing public peace during the rerun election in the state. Those arraigned by the DSS are the Secretary to the State Government, Mr. Kenneth Kobani of the People's Democratic Party, and a former lawmaker, Azubike Wanjoku. Both men have been granted bail. The 2 men have been under investigation by the service after the Rivers rerun election, where they were accused of compromising the electoral law and promoting violence. Both men pleaded not guilty, and the trial judge adjourned Mr. Kobani's case to June the 15th and that of Mr. Azubike to May the 25th. And the Federal High Court in Abuja has dismissed an application by the former National Security Advisor, Colonel Sambo Dasuki, seeking an order discharging him of all charges. The presiding judge, Justice Adeni Ademola, held that the application lacked merit. In another ruling today, Justice Ademola dismissed a separate application by the federal government seeking protection for 11 witnesses. The judge held that the prosecution failed to establish the grounds for seeking permission to shield the identities of its witnesses during trial. The federal government is prosecuting Mr. Dasuki on 4 counts of money laundering and illegal possession of firearms. There was pandemonium today at the Oredo Local Government Secretariat in Benin City, Edo State capital, as the reinstated council chairman, Mr. Osaro Obaze, tried to gain access to his office as he resumed official duties. However, he was prevented from entering the council chamber by hoodlums at the gate. Police officers were at the scene of the incident to restore calm.
After the April 14th judgment of the Edo State High Court, which reinstated the suspended chairman of Oredo Local Government Council, Mr. Osaro Obaze, the entrance to the council secretariat in Benin City, the Edo State capital, has been besieged by hundreds of people almost on a daily basis. Acting on the information that the reinstated chairman plans to resume official duties on Tuesday, the people again converged on the council, vowing never to allow the embattled chairman enter the council. The police tries to keep the situation under control, but that was short-lived with the arrival of Mr. Saro Obaze. Mr. Obaze, who managed to escape the violence, later spoke to newsmen on why he went to the council secretariat.
Today, I went to the office to, assume office to go about my lawful duties. When I got there, I met the Deputy Commissioner of Police on ground and said that I should go and see the CP. And I told him that yesterday I told the CP I was coming to resume. After some discussions, I was about to go to the office when some group of thugs came and started throwing stones and bottles. Even injured some police officers on ground.
The police on its part says the situation is now under control, but however wants all the parties involved in the crisis to be law-abiding.
Operatives were deployed there. The Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of operations led the team to the secretariat. Well, it's also observed that hoodlums at the time became unruly at the scene. They were adequately dispatched because it is the responsibility of the police to protect lives and properties.
Calm has returned to the area for now. However, the hope is that all parties involved in the crisis should respect the rule of law.
In part 2, after the break, Nigerians complain about long hours spent on fuel queues. Port Harcourt Refinery's management appeals for patience with an assurance of speedy end to the scarcity. That's in a moment. Do stay with us.